they're in the foster program and they've aged out and they don't get anything.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's horrible.
It's
But
Yeah.
truly, let us know if you do need.
Right.
He was all ready.
Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No.
Started, yeah. With that.
This.
Oh, you're talking about this. I thought you were talking about the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like,
Okay, public participation. We do not have anyone to publicly participate. Approval of the minutes. Any comments?
I didn't notice anything.
Someplace in the minutes, you spelled Ralph R-A-L-P.
Yeah, I saw that.
I will.
Item 2.
Appointment of officers, number 2.
Yeah.
I
saw
That's a scrivener's error. Thank you.
Let's see. So I have a motion to accept the minutes as altered. Corrected.
I second.
All in favor? Okay. Citizens survey. You're on, Thad.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. I will start with the survey results. Again, that is in your packet. That's actually on your iPad or your, what are they, books?
What page are you going to start on?
I am going to start on page, sorry, let me get there. I'm gonna start on page 8. Just the cover sheet for this item. Again, we are supposed to do the survey about every 5 years due to staffing shortages, et cetera, and turnover. We started this one at year 6, so we're a little behind, but not badly. One of the things that we also did, y'all know, because y'all presented the questions on to council, was we tracked very closely with the 2016 survey questions. So again, you could track trends if they were there. And I will say the trends are very close, 2016 to 2022, almost more so as far as keeping it very low density. When you look at go on to page, not 10, let's see, if you go to page 13 on in your notepad, you'll look at that question, and really if you added up 78, almost 79% of the people who answered this question, you're talking about large lot sizes, rural country, places for horses. Go to the page. I'm not going to go through all the comments unless y'all want to discuss those.
There were some interesting ones.
Yes, there were.
Yeah.
Page 17, almost 80% of the people like the comprehensive plan as it's written currently. So again, from a staff review standpoint, you look at it, 95% say they do not support lot sizes less than 2 acres. And again, that's the current minimum lot size permitted in certain zones. So all of those things continue to support basically the comprehensive land use plan as it is currently drawn up. So I wouldn't expect there to be many, if any, changes. Again, from staff perspective, I'm not recommending any change to the actual land use plan. One of the things just to talk about briefly, since it's public record, is this, we sent out postcards to all 440 residences. So again, the ticker was 1 per household. We weren't, council was kind of sensitive to a household of 10 people, maybe filling them all out. So 1 was permitted per address or per property ID. So 197 responses were received, slightly less than 2016, but that is about a 45% response rate. So we sent out postcards to everybody. We posted to the website, Facebook, Nextdoor. Tammy also sent out reminders as well. And we also had surveys here available at Town Hall. So we really did make an effort to make sure anybody who wanted to fill out the survey had that opportunity. Wanted to make it as easy as we could for people to provide that information. So, I want to step back and talk about that a little bit. So when you see 197, that's actually 45% of the households. So it's not just 197 people driving the community. It's 45% of the households who took the time to fill out the survey that's all we have to work with.
That's huge.
35% in standard surveys is kind of that kicker over where you say, okay, at 35%, I think I've got a good sampling. I wish I had more. 45% is actually really good. When you're talking about something that drives the community, your goal would be 100%, but it's just not going to happen. Everybody's busy with family and work, and they assume somebody else will do it, or they just aren't that interested. So again, the results basically tell me that your comprehensive plan as it's currently drawn up is pretty good. The community is very happy with the direction. So if I'll take you, if you want to, I'm going to get into the comprehensive plan part of it. Actually, do you have any questions over the survey before I move into our next step? The comprehensive plan I printed out for you, you'll see the little yellow shading. These are the areas that I look at immediately and go, okay, we're going to update it. It's going to be the 2043 conference or 2042 comprehensive plan. We'll change dates. Section 1 is your baseline analysis. Y'all won't have anything that you need to do in here. This is all staff, just me updating demographics, growth patterns, those types of things. So there's nothing that really needs input there. If you see anything that looks wrong, don't worry about it until I present that information, and then we can all go over it again. What we would like to do, and again, for example, when I went through the entire plan, I looked at things like open spaces and parks. And that's not something that is anywhere in the land use plan. And as a matter of fact, if a developer came in and said they'd like to donate a 5-acre park, I don't have a budget to develop it. I don't have staff to maintain it. So I think those things may need to be removed. That'll be y'all's decision. But from a staff perspective,
We purposely told people that we've had developers that have come in and, well, I'll donate this. And we
Right.
said, no, you just keep it. If you want to make a park out of it, you take care of it.
your HOA will do it.
The town doesn't have anything to do with that.
So I've experienced this in Haslett. They took the comprehensive plan. They took things like residential developments adjacent to park or or public spaces should be oriented. And developers came in and they said, hey, I've looked at your comprehensive plan and I'm doing this development. Now, it also has 5,000 square foot lots, but that's how I'm going to make all this work for you. And some developments were approved that, again, caused a very large shift in council. So you don't want to have things in your comprehensive plan that a developer reads and says, hey, they're looking for parks. They're looking for these things. It just makes it complicated when you turn them down. So there's a few things in here like that. Not many, but there are a few items like that. The ask of the commission is to focus on section 2. That starts on page 42 in your notebooks or page 7 on your comprehensive plan you're looking at. While you're, in a turkey coma over the holidays, whatever you're doing there, you can take the survey information, but we're looking for, at our next meeting, plowing through section 2. We're not going to go into this tonight. Again, it's holidays. I've got, want y'all to have time to actually read through it and work those processes. Questions to me, feel free to email me. Again, don't email each other, please. If y'all email me a question, I can send it out to the entire commission. I'll blind copy so everybody has the same information. But that's completely permissible under open meetings. Is y'all can email me all day and I can send things out to everybody. Y'all just don't do the daisy chain, walking quorum, etc. So again, the focus would be, we're talking about a multi-meetings process here, is get through section 2, if possible, the next meeting, or as far as we can, setting those goals and objectives. that would, and again, there may not be any changes, but this is your opportunity for us to fully review each section so that when we go to council, they know that each section has been gone over with a fine tooth comb, that we've done our homework and all the research needed to provide a plan that the city can continue to use for growth in the future. So that's really, I told you I'd keep it short tonight. I'm here to answer questions, but that was the goal, was to talk about the survey and the inputs and then move into one section at a time and go through that. And again, objective 5.1, define standards for adequate response service levels for public services. It has open spaces. So again, I saw highlighted that's page 11. Those types of things. If you find other items that you're going, we really need to add or subtract something from these current ones. If you think of something that you've heard in the community that you've experienced that you think we really want to be doing something more in this area, this will be our chance to talk about those. And then, beyond that, the land use plan, I've got a little updating to do there. That one may be very quick. Again, there's not a lot to change in this. There may be some discussion. I'm going to talk to the town attorney just to see if we need to change the language on ETJ because the law changes that have occurred from 2016 to now.
Some more with a legislative session coming up
Yes, ma'am.
right after we do this.
So that's typically how it happens. That'll really, this section will be the biggest part of what y'all need y'all's input on as we go through this are the goals and objectives. There's not going to be likely any change to the thoroughfare plan. Again, I'm not recommending any changes to the map. So when we look at that, it's going to be those goals and objectives. And if we're still happy, the plan may be good, but we may need to alter some of those, tweak those a little bit to make, again, closer get to what the community would like to see and what this board would like to recommend on to council. So again, questions as you go through it, questions now for me. I was just going to give y'all homework and then we were all going to go home early.
I have is I can't remember all of 16, but something that struck me is how many new families it seems like. Is that the same growth rate or is
Now, you know what? That's a good question. That's what I'm going to find out.
The growth rate in the next year or two is gonna be way more.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it
Yes.
opens up those two big
yeah,
houses.
when they do that, that's true. But I was just, it was like, I can't remember how big. Maybe it was right here. You were
If
16% year over 2 years and 17.26, 3 to 6. And I was like, wow. It's more than I had anticipated. Hat Creek, well, no, Hat Creek is very new. When was that developed?
Last 2 years, 2.5
Yeah,
years.
so those numbers aren't even reflected.
If you go to page 24 in your, the 2016 survey is in there. In your packet. Yes, it's included right behind the 2022. We included the 2016. So it is in there. So you'll have that base data. I'll still get that. So about 30% last time were 3 to 6 or 6 years or less. Well, you got a lot, again, you had Hat Creek. What else did you have? Just, was that the big one?
Yeah, so this survey, yeah, for the survey part, yes, so
Mhm.
we have Hat Creek. And that was the only subdivision that's gone in. So the next survey in 5 years.
But that'll be
is
substantially different.
Substantial because of there's 100 and over 100 homes coming in.
Well, you'll have a lot of new people moving in, a bunch of people moving out because all the people moving in. So you'll have it'll be substantial.
Yeah.
I'm going to be interested to see once we get, we've got that McMakin thing and we've got Hat Creek and we've got all this stuff going on. What percentage of like this thing says, I jumped ahead. 30% of our land wasn't developed. I wonder where we are now.
It's you saw that one was highlighted. That's something I'll work with and I'll figure out the percentage of what's left.
Say I was.
It's gonna be less than 30%.
Is that number.
So
I don't know if it was
have you-
accurate then, but I'm gonna make sure it's accurate in this one.
Figure that out. Does that include like somebody who lives on 20 acres, but could, I mean, maybe they would never do it, but if they could subdivide that,
I imagine that,
then does that count in that 30% or whatever the percentage is?
Depends on how they calculated it.
and I don't know that, I'll
Yeah.
dig around and see how they calculated it in 2016 to get to 30. It'll be
Seems high
fair.
to me.
It does seem high.
There could be people that are on RE2 or RE5 that have got 10 acres.
Mhm. We'll discuss that once I get that updated. I'll talk to you about what it looks like they did before and how I'm presenting it, and we'll
Maybe you could do both, like with the current land use plan as the properties are laid out. It's this, but what it could be,
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice to know.
but it's. Well, but you've got the land, yeah, because you'll have the land use.
probably land use. Mhm.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of work.
I would think
It's okay,
they
that-
worked off the land use to come up with that 30%,
Typically,
which may count for people like our mayor who's on 30 acres.
right,
You know, it's all just put his up for.
Yeah,
10 million.
Yeah, 10 million.
I saw that one.
And
What?
it's still up.
Listed that for 10 mil,
who did?
Noah Shaw,
I don't know. Oh.
right down Jeter, that weird
10
gate,
million?
10 million,
Where are you at? I'm sorry, where are you talking about? Rick?
right down, right.
Left side of Jeter as you're going.
Where the
Like,
Indian
right
people
before you get
used
to
to
my
live?
house.
Oh, yeah, yes,
With the little weird gate,
yeah.
tick-tocky gate, there's a name for that, what is it?
How many acres is that?
It's over 20.
Wow.
$1 million seems,
10
I mean,
million.
$10 million seems
Yeah,
exorbitant.
the house needs renovation, but it's got a warehouse and it's got a lot of stuff on it. but-
Oh,
but the
but
house
we
needs-
just can't see.
House is very, yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
What do we have coming up besides this? Anything?
That's all I have right now. We don't have anything else.
I want to take this.
No, that's,
Took us probably 4 or 5 months because we went section by section. And there's something in here, which I'm jumping the gun again, but I
That's okay.
remember looking at it. There is a sentence or 2 or 3 sentences about when we have to come back and do this that fight each other. But I don't know
Yes.
where it is
Yeah,
to
that's
find it.
under, it's on the last, I know exactly. where. Yeah. It's your time, and it conflicts each other, you're like, what?
Yeah, at first it says like you have to completely redo it and then it has, then the other one
Well,
says,
it's 5 years and 5 years, it says it should be, then it says it shall be, so it's like.
yeah, I remember there was something screwy on there, but I can't figure out where it is to look it up.
Let me review. Under-
45. Implementation, that makes sense.
Okay, on page 80 of your packet. So page 45 of the plan, comprehensive plan amendments and periodic review. The second paragraph says at approximately 5-year intervals, a periodic review of the comprehensive plan. Respect to the current conditions should be performed. And then on the next page. It says. In addition to periodic reviews, the comprehensive plan should do a complete, more thorough review and update every 5 years.
And to me,
It's like they conflicts each other.
it-
so
more
that's a-
than that, that second one tells me that you're supposed to throw the whole thing out and start over the way it sounds, which this is supposed to be a plan for 30 years or
Yes,
20
it's
years or
supposed to-
wable is.
absolutely supposed to be about a
That
20-year
needs to
plan.
be fixed.
Yes. Good catch.
Page
On
80.
page
Right here,
one.
Yep.
right here.
Yeah,
So page 80, it's the
So
first
it's-
sentence of the last
Right
paragraph.
here, 5 years.
Yeah, 80 is
46
correct.
And then-
on there.
You should
Over
review
here.
it about every 5 years. It's the second one that says you basically throw it away. That's every 20 years.
yeah.
If you're fast growing, and I mean, they really loses a lot of its validity over that period of time. But if you're doing fairly comprehensive reviews it should never get that far out.
I mean, if you throw it away, that means that.
And it wasn't supposed to be
good.
in there.
Ralph,
We fixed that.
If-
Said something.
if I'm a consultant, then that means in, 5 to 10 years, I get another $136,000.
Put together.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that very thing, because at one point they made us go back every 2 years. So we changed it to 5 years to review it. But then that other part that must have already been in there got left in. That's what I think.
That might have been it.
Definitely talked about.
Changed it 2 to 5 and then without thinking.
Without the second
Thinking about
paragraph
it.
being
Yeah,
fixed.
look, so you can just change that date.
So that ought to be an easy fix.
Yeah.
And I like that approximately 5 years part, because then you guys
We're right in there.
were right in there.
You don't know what's gonna happen. You
Right.
Right.
Can't set
And
in
I-
stone.
I actually can't figure this out anyway. We had the review in 2016. But we didn't. It was like at the end of the year again. It was 2017 before it was adopted, I think, if you look at it, which means we're right on 5 years.
I can like it. So again, as you take on the goals and objectives section, please don't hesitate to email me, and because everybody else probably has the same kind of question, and I can get an answer and send that out to everybody without
This is
violating
a-
any.
Good example of making use of this email where you're not. If you want to write to him, it's going to be all contained into one bucket instead of mixing in with your personal stuff or.
This is one,
Whatever.
when it's adopted, someone might say, I want to know what they did. I think they were hiding and they were in secret. No, we did. And it'll be easy to produce those documents and records without having to go and dig into your personal emails and.
Unless you met their retention plans.
Down back behind Saddlebrook. Did we get to provide our email?
Yes,
We did?
yes.
You did.
No,
You know, I was part of that. You talked about the Martinville 5, whenever we all got sued, I mean, or.
Let's dismiss.
You mean that one when that lady built, she put that cement down and said it was gonna be for her alfalfa, and then she went back later and it was within the setbacks, and then she built building over them,
Yes, oh, yeah,
and we red tagged her and she sued us.
Oh, goodness.
but I never was involved in any email on that, but I don't think, I
Oh,
don't, yeah.
I would think that they would have.
So this, again, one of the things that most people don't want, that's why I carry 2 phones. I don't want a judge deciding which part of my phone. Of course, you were going to discuss this at the end, it's part of the policy. Again, it's not on the agenda, so we'll talk about it, as a
You know, it's
information.
what we have to do at college, you do not want to talk personal stuff with a student on your phone, on your personal account to the school's account, if you want to correspond with them, because it will backfire so many ways that that's a good idea, really, to have this email, yes.
yeah. What is it? You're gonna tell us what our emails are?
I'm gonna give you something.
Okay, meeting's adjourned.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what we were trying to do, so that it wasn't.
So
Hang on a second.
are we adjourned?